Hi, I'm Jill Deshay. I'm Vice President of Best Practices for SaaS, and I'm here at the 2013 Pacific Northwest BI Summit, sponsored by Scott Humphrey and Humphrey Strategic PR. Today I'm sitting with Lara Shackelford. She's Vice President of Marketing for DataStax. It's a new company in the big data space, but as you'll see in a few minutes, it'll be on the tips of our tongues in no time. Hi, Lara.
Hi, Jill. Thank you.
Welcome. It's your first year here.
Yes.
And you're a new initiate, but you've passed several tests, so we're really happy to have you.
So far.
So, we've been talking all morning about big data, clearly part of the vernacular here. And what we've been talking about is, we've transcending the 3 V's, right? And I know that DataStax has a very unique value proposition in the marketplace right now. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your mission.
Absolutely. And it's funny when you talk about the 3 V's, a point of contention in some parts of big data. We were just talking this week about, do we try to add a 4th V, which is availability? We decided not to. There's a V in there somewhere, but DataStax really is about availability, and I'll tell you what that means. DataStax powers big data applications. We're an infrastructure provider. At the core, we're Apache Cassandra, which is an open source NoSQL database that allows people to build applications at scale. And it really supports applications where you need to be online all the time and work with, either analyze or search your hot data in the context of that application.
Yeah, and so as you describe the company, you could look at yourselves as, maybe a platform, maybe a toolkit, maybe an application. How do you define DataStax?
Exactly. We're truly an infrastructure provider. We call ourselves a big data platform provider, but at the core of it is that infrastructure for which people build their critical business applications. We power 20 of the Fortune 100 with applications where they interact with their customers.
You and I talked a little bit about CIOs and the changing roles of IT and some convergence between IT and the business. I've been writing and speaking about that for the last several years. And you guys have some interesting stories around that. You mentioned a couple customers that were thinking along those lines, and you're providing IT with some new value.
Exactly. And it's particularly of interest to me as a marketer because I've got more technical resources available to me than ever to understand my customers. And I started to see the trend when talking to our customers, because I talked to one person who's VP of IT applications for a major grocery chain in the United States. And he said, I'm really focused on the applications where I can add the most value to the bottom line for the organization. So he said, as a company, we are trying to spend as little as we can on the back office and move it more into the points of customer interaction.
Nice.
And the words that came out of his mouth were churn and customer retention and the things that I, as a marketer, have been thinking about for years. And I realized IT has this new opportunity now to really focus on that bottom line value. And there's another CIO of a Fortune 100 company who said a similar story to me. He said, if someone were to call me a CMO, I wouldn't mind that much because that would mean they see that I'm adding value to the business versus being just a cost center.
And speaking the language, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So DataStax has actually had some pretty exciting announcements over the past month or two. Can you share some of those?
Sure. So it's been an incredible about 60 days in terms of our news. So we first announced in early May that we've had more than 30 Oracle migrations, people moving off of Oracle onto us. So we announced 3 customers that wanted to talk publicly about that move. Shortly afterwards, we went to our Cassandra Summit, where we hosted more than 1,100 people at the world's largest Apache Cassandra event in the San Francisco Bay Area. And then we came right off of that to an announcement this Tuesday, the 23rd of July, that we closed our D round of funding. It was led by Scale Venture Partners with participation by new investors as well, which included DFJ Growth Fund and Next World Capital. So it really allows us now to invest more in expanding globally. We opened our London office, our European full subsidiary, last March, and now it allows us to grow that at a much faster pace. It also allows us to invest more in our channels. We see that obviously as an important growth lever for us moving forward.
So share DataStax website address.
It's DataStax, just like it sounds, DATASTAX.com. And we have details about our customer stories there. And you can also find information about our growth statistics, which have been big in terms of growing from 30 to over 300 customers in the last 2 years.
Wow.
And from about 30 employees a year ago to now nearly 150.
Wow. So that was Laura Shackelford from DataStax. Congratulations on your success so far. I am Jill Deshay, VP of Best Practices for SaaS, over and out from the BI Summit.